want to introduce the panelists. We have Natalie, Livan, Dennis, and Sammy. I know most of you do not know Sammy. So today's panel is going to be hosted by myself and Mikey. Mikey, come on, man. Say hi to everybody. Mike saying hi. So we're going to be asking questions for you. We're going to have questions from the audience, and we're going to have questions from Mike. So we're going to get started. All right. Go ahead. You go first.
All right. So let's start off with Sammy. All right.
Can we ask you to speak up because that way they catch it on Zoom? Go ahead.
All right, Sammy. What I have is share one of your negotiations that almost fell apart and that you saved it.
Fell apart and almost saved. Well, there's a few of them. I closed one of my first deals, and it was in the Redlands, and I was starting. I just got off basketball, and I actually closed a little bit early that transaction, and as I closed that early that transaction, that seller I didn't know they had that assignment, and basically she forgot that her house was for sale. She disappeared for a whole week, and then I closed the people that was selling the house that was going to buy the house, and I couldn't sleep for a whole week because the people that I sold the house had 3 kids. Those people lost anyone, and we're talking about a house, an acre and a half, in the Redlands, and I was crying, guys. Like I'm telling you, like it was one of my big deals. It was an $800,000 home that I was selling, and I was buying a $950 home. And I was so scared because the people that I was representing, they were like, and now what we do? These people need to get our house. The lady doesn't appear, and how can you? I start praying the whole week. I sit until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night on the front of the house to see somebody come. And that happened like I closed on a Friday until the second Thursday coming. Her sister showed up. And when the sister showed up, it was like a thing of God. My sister has Samuel. I said, nobody told me this. Where's she at? We drove to Fort Myers to the other house, to the other brother house, and she was like this in a rocking chair. I said, how can you be in that rocking chair? We pulled her out, swear to God, with her sister. We got her in the car and we got back that Friday. Luckily, it was when no one tired of that closing. We closed after hour, but I saved the deal now.
That's a great story. All right, so we're going to try to ask questions also that are for beginning agents that maybe in 6 months or 1 year still haven't seen too much. So we want to hear from you guys at the very beginning. So I got a question for you. Take us back to your first real estate deal. How did you get it? What did that one teach you? And at the same time, what do you feel was the hardest thing that you did not expect once you joined real estate? We need them to understand what they are probably finding difficult now that they want to hear from top producers now. Okay, and then we'll get to how you guys became that, of course, but it is important that they understand that they might be going through the same issues you guys went through. Okay, so Dennis, let's go one by one.
My first deal was a comp. So first deal, got the buyer, put them under contract, and you're like, oh, this is smooth, easiest money I ever made, right? Then it falls through, fell through because, or the original deal, because of the condo, it didn't have the reserves and all that stuff, and I didn't know that. Yeah. So what do you learn to check the budget, cross-reference with your lender and that sort of thing, but the condo, obviously, and, that deal, I was able to, follow through, find them another one, check the budgets with my lender, and do the right research prior to having them go through a process, do inspection, do all these things, and wasting time, energy, money.
And quick question, how did you get that client?
That client I met through, a referral, basically. Well, actually, it wasn't a referral, it was somebody that I met randomly, like when I was shopping for a car.
Okay.
I just talked to the gentleman, hey, if you ever need a realtor, and he said, yeah, actually, there's guys here that work here, but they, they're not full time, this and that. If you can help me out, that'd be great.
So you're telling me that you got a deal out of a conversation?
conversation.
How weird. That's so weird. All right, so there you go, Natalie. Give me this.
My first deal was not your traditional situation. It was a little bit of a slam dunk deal. And I got it because I had previously been a paralegal for 8 years. So one of the girls I worked with, she knew I was getting my license. Her brother was buying a home, so she told her brother to wait until I was licensed, which was nice. Especially that I was a complete rookie, had no idea what I was doing. I showed him, he was very A-type, so he had all the documents, everything ready to go, so everything was extremely smooth. We closed in 30 days. I showed him 2 houses.
Dream team.
I got a $10,000 commission check, which I had never seen $10,000 in my bank account. And I was like, wow, I could do this. I love this. I quit my job. Right. And I shortly learned that not every transaction was going to be a slam dunk deal.
Exactly.
But I mean, I told myself, well, if this $10,000 can hold me for 3 or 4 months, if it doesn't work, I go back to work, and I've never looked back.
Perfect.
So my first deal, I actually got pretty lucky in the sense that once we went under contract, it was very smooth. But I had just gotten licensed. This client, this buyer was the operations manager of where I worked. I had a job at the time. So I was extremely green. I had no idea what I was doing. I just got my license. I just got an access to MLS. I hadn't even done any type of like training or nothing like that. And I just started scheduling appointments, like blindly. I had no idea what showing time is and nothing like that. To the point where I got to a property, I had no idea what a super was. Like I was completely lost, but I never lost that buyer. And I did get lucky in the sense that once we did get them under contract, it was probably one of the smoothest transactions I've ever done in my career. It was like a 14-day close, conventional, 3% down, but the lender gave like a 2% down payment assistance. Like it was the most fantastic transaction ever. But before that, I mean, I was learning the ropes, trying to figure out by myself.
So just as a follow-up before Mikey goes, so that client came from a person that you worked with.
Correct.
Does
yeah.
that mean that you started to tell the people that you worked with that you were a realtor?
Absolutely.
That's so weird. So you got to deal with that. Guys, we just want to make sure that you guys understand. Everybody asked, where do the leads come from? He had a conversation. He talked to people that he worked with. She got it from
Somebody that I worked with too.
somebody that you work with. So that's what's important, right? Most of you have part-times, a lot of people have part-times, and everybody's like afraid to tell everybody that they're in real estate. But a conversation just led to a deal. How much did you make out of that one?
It was a lower end home. It was like 7,000.
Okay, 7 grand. I mean,
That
7
was
grand.
like 2 or 3 months worth.
There you
of-
go. Most people are making $3,500 a month. You just made 2 months worth of pay. That's what's important, that they kind of listen for to understand it, right? Like,
What would you guys say creates a better long-term ROI? Open houses or cold calling? Sam?
Well, I don't do cold calling, and I'm sorry. I barely now, when I started, obviously, yeah. I say open houses if you do consistently, right? And when I say open houses, it's like, not just do one open house this weekend, just try to pick like a month and do regularly, because cold calling is gonna be, you have to talk to people. Open house, obviously, if the buyer coming of representative, basically you got that person. I said. Okay.
I mean, you both are good, obviously. I think it depends a lot on the agent. Some people are good in the phone, some people are good in person. You can always do both. If you're not great on the phone, you can circle prospect when you're doing an open house, call the neighbors and try to door knock there and do that sort of thing. So it really depends on the agent, but both are great.
Livan, your team?
I think it's for me personally, I think it's an easier close at an open house because you're face to face. You can make the direct connection. You're not relying on a phone call and them answering and all that stuff. So personally, I personally just did an open house this weekend. We secured 3 very qualified people.
Perfect.
That we're locking in. So I mean, for me, open house is probably the easiest route, but it doesn't deter that you should still find other routes for lead generation, which includes the cold calling. You should be hitting all type of prospecting routes.
Do you have a specific SOP for your open houses? Like, what's your process?
Not necessarily. I don't have an SOP for that. You make the connection, try to get information out of them. What's their story? Because everyone has a different story, and you try to make a genuine human connection, and that's how you're able to lock them in.
I'm gonna agree with them. I'm not a cold caller. That's not my jam, has never been my jam. However, what I have done is circle prospect. When I have an open house, I have called the neighborhood to like invite them to the open house, and that's a good reason to make the phone call. And if you do decide you want to end up cold calling, that's a good segue into learning how to cold call, getting more comfortable. I would say open houses. I'm more, I guess, more efficient in person. I feel like can close someone better in person, but these days I just rely on social media, guys.
There you go. She knows a lot of social media.
So I do social media.
So one of the things that if you guys listen to what they said, yeah, not everybody's a good cold caller, but if you hear almost all of them said open houses. We have hundreds of listings in lifestyle, hundreds of agents are willing to let anybody do an open house for that. And I think that what I got from you guys, which is the same mindset I have, that you can make a better impression when you speak to someone. The conversation goes much smoother than sounding robotic over the phone, right? And I think that you guys prove it by being open to more open house. And I think that that's a big thing that people need to take advantage of. All right, so I got another one. What changed in your habits, your schedule, and your mindset to start producing more consistently? Something had to happen, right? From you becoming a brand new agent, not that many listings, to all of a sudden, bam. Was it I got $100,000 check and now I can do whatever? Or was it mindset, scheduling, or something that you started to add to your systems? Let's start with Natalie.
So I had to switch the mindset initially from being an employee mindset to a self-employed mindset, right? Because now I had quit my job and I had all this freedom that I could go run errands and go do my nails and go do this. But I realized that if I wasn't working and working in my business, I was going to not see or reap the benefits 60 to 90 days out. So I'm still gonna be broke, right? So I had to create structure for myself in the beginning as if I still had a 9 to 5.
So I think the development happens in stages. So coming from a beginning starter agent all the way to a pretty big producer, step number one is organization and structure. Me personally, being very dialed into a CRM is crucial from day one. So I started kind of midway into like really being into the CRM, and trust me, working backwards, trying to get it updated is not the way. Start your CRM now, make sure your database is on point. And then obviously once you start growing, then you may need administrative help, getting a VA and all that stuff. So for me, for sure, structure organization when it comes to my task and my CRM.
I agree with that a lot. It's having a CRM, time blocking, because I would say to myself, if I worked a 9 to 5, I would be there nine hours straight because somebody was overseeing me. So I have to have the structure myself and keep my eye on the prize and be consistent and say, I'm gonna lead gen for this amount of hours. I'm gonna follow up and have yourself on a set schedule so that way you could be consistent and get the most out of each day. Like I would do something at the end of the day where it's like I would clock out and see how many hours I worked actually efficient. You could be working 9 hours, but how many did I actually work? Because you could be in the office 9 hours and work for 30 minutes. So just being, again, like he said, time blocking, being consistent and schedule.
So, good question. For me, it was a little bit different. Because as I transitioned from basketball and I went to this craziness of like, kind of like getting these big checks from basketball and being in Europe for so many years and come over here and just realizing, right, what my life had changed and like, now what? And then my wife actually told me, hey, let's start investing on duplex and triplex in 2010. So I started, buying things like that. And I didn't know really what was real estate. So when I started like, talking about real estate and talking about, and I get my first check, it was good. But I was like, man, 250,000 back then, and like you're getting a check for like 7, 8, and like it kind of changed. Psychologically, mental health is real because you go from a very high standard of getting paid to now you're like, oh snap, like you have to readjust. But I had to do it, and I did it, and luckily now I put myself in a position that I can be able to tell you guys, hey, it is everyone in here is different, right? he has system, the other one that does social media, he does. I'm not reading social media,
Right.
and I'm not really like have the CRM like Livan Bec. I don't know. It's my circle because I know a lot of people with a lot of money, so I kind of tackle that world. You know what I'm saying? So it's different how we all four here is very different how we tackle the business, basically.
Or that's what I wanted to touch base on. So for everybody listening and everybody here, if you saw, we just saw four completely different mindsets. She at some point realized I have a job, but I'm running out of money. Let me change my mindset to start considering. You are like more strategic, as like I need a plan, I need to have a system. Without systems, and then you were talking about time blocking. I mean, it's crazy how people are like, well, I can work at Bank of America 9 to 5, and I'm doing the exact same thing. But then they come into being a real estate agent. Oh, I'll work till 12. But then at 12, I gotta do this. And then I go, oh, I gotta do my errands because I'm a realtor, I have time free. But you haven't started to make the money to make you free, correct? Is that right? Right? Because at a certain point you realize it. And you come from the investment background, which completely is different than just starting to sell on its own, right? So it's good to see that all of you might be going through the same issues, and now you're seeing how they still reached what they are right now as top producers by having the same issues that you guys might be going through. So, Mike,
You here in this industry, are you a listing agent? Are you a buyer's agent? You know, if you had to choose one, or do you do both? Let's go with.
I don't really necessarily I'm a listing agent or a buyer agent. I don't care how really the business comes, you know what I mean? I just go ahead and tackle it. That's just me personally. I don't want to focus myself. I do a lot of commercial now, and I'm been just doing everything, right? For the past, I don't know, since I started, but I don't want to define myself when I can provide value to that buyer seller or that commercial seller. You know what I'm saying? I don't tell you, hey, I'm just a seller, listing agent, a buyer. No, whatever the business comes, let's go and run with it.
Yeah, I agree. You have to tackle both. I naturally, it was easier for me to be a listing agent because I came from the appraisal background. So that's where my knowledge was in the numbers and how much the property was worth. So that's what gave me the most value at the start. Obviously, as a buyer, super important too, to know the comps and that sort of thing, but I always felt more comfortable as a listing agent, and that's how I got my first deal.
I'm indifferent, but I do want to say that I feel like listings bring more business. So I tend to like to be more of a listing agent. I'll happily take a actually qualified buyer or, work a lead to make sure that we end up closing on how they transact. But listings attracts more business in my opinion, from for sale signs, from open houses, from the neighbors. Listings bring more business. So I like to be more of a listing agent personally.
Like they say, list to exist.
exactly.
I was initially very much on the buyer's agent side when I first started. And I felt like I got really good at being a buyer's agent because I knew how to get somebody under contract very fast. I felt like I had more, I don't want to say manipulation. No. I'll use that word loosely. I had more influence. But I became a mom in 2020. And so being a mom, I needed more flexibility. So on the listing side, I've been predominantly a listing agent now. I have a lot more flexibility. Also, you can take on more listings than you can take on buyers, right? In order to be able to give quality service to buyers, I wouldn't suggest taking more than 6 buyers at a time because everybody wants to see properties all the time. Whereas listings, if you set the right expectation with your seller, you don't have to show all your listings. So you can take on more listings.
And just to piggyback on Mike's question, I'm guessing you guys did do rentals. Just making sure, okay, you didn't, okay, that's okay. So one thing that I pick up on that is the fact that we all do know that listings control the market.
Yeah.
Listings control the commission. So yes, just depends on how much harder you're willing to work, because does it take much more work to do listings? Yes or no? You got to talk the sellers into it, right?
Well,
Yeah.
to initially get the listing,
Right.
it's harder.
Right.
Once you have the listing, it's easier.
Okay, so now I want everybody here are adults, right? We're just making sure. Because this question coming up, I want the truth. We're here to talk honestly and be truthful to everybody. I want you to open up the reality and no BS. Okay. So I want to know, what do you think new agents waste too much time on?
Oh,
Ah, you see, that's why I want the truth 100%, because we need to be honest to them so they can stop wasting their time and start creating money.
okay.
Making,
Alright.
making too many excuses in order for them to be successful.
Yeah.
Right? So, in my opinion, right? I see it a lot. I have multiple offices and everybody wants to get to the top, cutting corners. And it's not cutting corners, it's just doing the work. However, is, for example, today, I have a lot of people today. I want to be there because, the partner's going to be fired, things like that. Look how many people are we have, right? And then,
Well, we have a full room.
no, yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
Yes,
some
no,
people
I get you,
miss-
I get you.
and then everybody just, oh no, I have it showing now, I have this, excuses and BS, and when necessarily, you're not going to make it like that.
100%. 100%.
Wanting to know everything. I see some that become listing specialists, everything before they've sold the house, and they waste a lot of time. I'd rather you get the business, not know what you're doing, and team up with somebody and do the work that way. And there, a lot of people also focused on handouts or leads. Like, I want leads, I want leads, I want leads. When we've all spoken, a lot of it's referral, a lot of this is talking with your clients. There's a lot of, if you haven't attacked your network hard, like the right way, then what do you want to lead for? Like, the easiest ones to convert are your friends, your referrals, family, that's what.
Now, I appreciate you mentioned that before we go to you guys too, because every new agent comes in and says, oh, but I went with this company because they provide leads. Okay, but at a certain point, you don't even know what to do with those leads. You don't know how to talk to those leads. You don't know any, and none of you said, well, I started because somebody handed me a lead. You guys still work for it. You had a conversation. You talked to the people you work with, etc. So that's very important that you mention that.
So I feel like there's a big lack of discipline among the newer agents, at least from what I've seen.
Yes.
And also lack of consistency, because without those two, I mean, how can you actually create a sustainable business? Obviously, you are working for yourself. If you don't produce, you're cooked, as the newer generation says. So, lack of discipline and consistency for sure.
I am gonna agree with everything they said. I think that as a newer agent, you have to wanna grind. Like, put in the work, because we've all had to put in the work to get to where we've gone, whether it's top producer or mid-level producer, whatever, you have to put in the work and what do you call it, like, pay, like, your yeah,
Pay your dues.
your lack of seniority, right? We all did it. I think the other mistake too, and this is completely different from what anybody has said, is like, as real estate agents, we need to focus just on prospecting, going to appointments, negotiating. Okay, like, why are we at inspections? Are you an inspector? What are you doing there? Right? Why are you at appraisals? Are you an appraiser? What are you doing there?
Yep.
Right? If it's to make yourself feel better about the commission you're collecting, you're doing that by negotiating and fighting for your client. You're doing that by showing the properties. You're doing that in so many other ways. So you should be behind your desk prospecting, not at all the other things.
Perfect. Okay, good, good.
All right, so, I mean, now it's for you guys here. So who struggles with consistency here? And we'll, share why they struggle with consistency. You heard them talking about putting in the work, being consistent, having structure. So who struggles a little bit, and we get some insight. Anyone with some questions for them?
Come on, guys.
I'll go first.
Go.
Right now, currently I'm doing the real estate part-time, and since I have my own company growing, I also wanted to tackle both things at the same time. I'm working 9 hours from like 12 to 6, and then if anything, I'll stay up a couple more hours, but I really want to get into this because I feel like this is kind of like the future, and then learning about how to market, social media, setting up your schedules, etc. I just want to know, like, if I should rest when it's too much to handle, because I feel like tackling so many things. With one thing, I want to tackle this as well. I want to do both. I really do, but sometimes I feel like I can't,
What is your other business of?
Trucking company with Amazon. So I'm dispatching setting up schedules, Excel sheets, financing.
Yeah, that's a lot.
My question to you is, how much you getting paid a
Yeah.
year, if you don't mind me
A
asking?
year, I started in November, but right now the company has currently made 160.
And $160,000, guys, it's okay money. I mean, don't give me, I respect $160,000 a lot of money, obviously. I don't want nobody to tell me
Every month.
instead a month, right? Now, if you put the same work ethic in 3 months, you could get that or more, in my opinion, right? It depends also what type of people you surround yourself with and how many listings and how many clients are it. So you have to determine that yourself and say, hey, listen, I'm going after this market because I'm gonna make this type of money.
Here's the other thing, is it gonna get to a point that it runs by itself, or do you have to always pour into that side of the business?
Right now, since I just started, I'm pouring everything into it, but like you said,
Eventually it will run itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a hard call to make
Yeah.
because it is a high income, to be honest with you. And just like any other part-time maybe that relies on a W-2 income, that's pretty substantial. That's how they feed their kids or your household, whatever. It's hard to transition out of that to fully dedicate this to basically start from zero. So right now you're gonna have to be in the struggle of trying to do both. You really don't have a choice. Obviously continue to build that business. Because sounds like it is successful already and it could be more successful, but also you need to put in the time and effort. You're gonna have to sacrifice. You look very young and this is your time to do it. So.
I think time management's gonna be key.
Okay.
David, how old are you?
22.
Yeah.
Wow.
You remember, you remember
Yeah.
young.
So,
I told you to go wait till I'll see you.
so put in the order, boy.
Don't have kids for a while.
This is your time to do it.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
appreciate it.
Okay, so here comes the next one. Again, what do luxury or higher end clients expect the newer agents may not realize? Because you go to a luxury listing, you go to you have a luxury buyer, it's not the same thing as if you're a new agent and you expect, for example, I'll give you an example, right? One of the ones that I use for when I'm coaching somebody or whatever. Multi-million-dollar listing is not going to accept a 4x6 postcard. So you better have multi-million-dollar marketing dollars, right? That's one thing, right? So example, things like that. What would you say that you going to a multi-million-dollar person expects that a new agent might not be aware of yet? And that's why it might be better to partner up with somebody that has already done that.
Go to one of Sammy's open houses.
So
Spends money on it.
he has the dancing ballerinas and everything. Okay, go.
You guys go, you guys.
Go.
So I think when it comes to any business, buyer and seller, whether it's a luxury or not, but just in general, I think investing, if you can financially, 10% back of your commission back into your business, it's only gonna continue to produce more business. But what I have seen personally lately with luxury buyers, they are more educated. You need to be just as educated as them when it comes to the properties. I feel like they very much do their homework, especially on a property they're interested in. They know when it was last sold, about the neighbors, about the property, the neighborhood. They know everything.
Designer was.
They know it all. So you need to be on that same level, especially if you're gonna go do a showing and prepare yourself for that. When it comes to sellers, I mean, I agree. You have to show some kind of over the top marketing. You know.
For the area.
In the area, yes.
Yeah, the area mostly make sure you know the area, the neighborhood, they're buying a lifestyle, the schools are important, a lot of times they're buying in the school district, so you have to know the schools, that's huge. But yeah, know as much about the property that you said, much as you can, a lot of them, will do their homework.
I think that one of the things that I've seen personally, when I've gone to $1 million listing and it's a showing agent, basically a buyer agent that a listing agent uses, right? That buyer agent or showing agent knows nothing about the property. Does that already kill the deal? Of course, because they kind of think, well, you're not even selling me on the property. They're just seeing what they see. So I think that's very important for new agents to understand that when you're going to go show a property for you guys or do an open house for you guys, that you kind of know what you're showing, not just show up and open the door.
I'm gonna give you a nugget, guys. Yesterday I had a listing for 5.1. I have a listing. It's right there on 87 and 100. The agent came from all the way from Fort Lauderdale. Okay. we had ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT will spell everything for you, right? The guy, and obviously, nothing against the buyer that he brought. The buyers that he brought from San Diego, they have money. Like they pull up in a rush one, okay? He pull up in a random, great, no problem. But if you're not from Galloway States on that area, right, from your neighborhood, you need to know. So ChatGPT it or try to say, hey, what schools are good in this area before you show up. Don't ask me because and then the buyers are gonna be like, well, wait a minute, who is representing me? And that it was a silo lead agent. You know what I mean? An agent. And I called him afterward. I said, hey, you know, have you saw in this area? He's like, no, man, that's my first time. That's why I was asking you question for us. So I said, my buddy, please, next time, just ChatGPT the name and see what come out. Because you have 3 schools, great school around here, right? And if you're not with the area, just ask. You know what I mean? But please.
I had a lady one time when I first started, this was before ChatGPT, guys. I went for a listing appointment and she did not give me the listing because I didn't know who the developer was in the area. And this was in Fort Lauderdale. And the developer, these houses are old.
Yeah.
It was way before my time. I wasn't even alive. Okay. And I needed to know how far the Publix was, the parks that were in the area, how many miles was it to the Publix, how many miles was it to the park, everything. It was insane.
No, it's true, 100%. A lot of these people, they believe in the history. I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking to Coral Gables people, if you don't know who built that house,
Yeah.
that's a big problem. So yeah, it's important for you to do it. And like Sammy said, if you ask ChatGPT, hey, who built this house in this address? If it already has history, it'll even tell you who the builder was, who everything was. And so it is important to use your systems. Don't make.
All right, so this is for Natalie directly. So you built your brand. What content, right? You said social media, you think actually generates conversations that convert, not just gets likes.
Okay, so I am very big on selling the lifestyle, right? So we live in South Florida and doing it in a modest way, right? So we live in South Florida. We have the privilege of selling the South Florida lifestyle. There is always restaurants opening up, events, anything and everything. There is a plethora of things that you can post about, right? And then also in between, you fill in obviously your listings, your real estate stuff, I don't do the serious content because for me, I'm not a very serious person. So I don't like the, welcome to 123 Main Street, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't work for me. I do more of like the funny route and the funny stuff, or at least funny to me. So I think that that's what really has set me apart from, the regular realtor content. It's what works for me. It's what I've gone to places and people have been like talking to me, having full blown conversations. I have no idea who they are. And they're like, oh yeah, I've been following you for a long time. I'm like, oh, awesome. Great. You're not a stalker because they even talked to me about my son. But yeah, I think a little bit of everything and not just real estate the whole time.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm gonna join in with you guys on what I think agents do the worst and continue to do the worst is exactly what you said. The easy route is doing a property video. Just, hey, this is 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, walk with me. That's the easy route. But so many times I tell them, do a video that gives information, that shows that you're the knowledgeable person, but they don't want to be in front of a camera. Right? I believe that's something.
Better than not posting anything.
Yes.
Start off that way.
100%. Yes.
And then, but like, we have ChatGPT. There are so many things you can ask ChatGPT for ideas on videos, and it'll even give you the script. It'll tell you where to shoot. It'll tell you what angle. It'll tell you everything.
Perfect. Appreciate that.
I have a question on that of social media. How do you handle separating your personal life and the real estate life?
I don't.
Social is
I
just
don't.
one account
Yes.
for you?
Yeah, and the reason why is because I'm a person, right? I'm not just real estate. I'm a mom. I own a dog. I like to work out. I like to have coffee. So all of these things are relatable. So if my page is only real estate, unfortunately, it's going to be boring. And people are going to unfollow you because it's just real estate, real estate, real estate. But if you're being the tour guide of South Florida, right, and showing people where the best coffee is, or showing people where the best empanadas are, especially if that's your neighborhood that you want to work in, now it's like, okay, you're a person showing me this lifestyle in this area, and you're a mom, and you're balancing life, and you're doing all the things.
Love it, perfect.
This is for you, Beck. Team or solo agent? When? Why? What creates the most opportunity?
Okay,
All right.
you're talking as a agent or becoming a team leader, please?
As a newer agent thinking about becoming a team leader, that's like
So
the when,
I-
why, and what
I-
creates that
I
opportunity.
feel like being part of a team is almost like an elevator straight up. Because you have all the resources at hand, plus all the resources at hand, you have the experience on hand, you have a collaborative environment versus a solo agent, which is, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just more of a gradual slope. You have to put in the effort. You don't really have a collaborative because you have your offices and stuff. So I think for depending on the type of person, a team may be a better route. It's yes, of course, there are splits that are going to be involved, but it's more of a faster growth in my book.
So question on that, just to follow up. Did you ever join a team?
No,
So you started your team?
I figured out everything on my own, even before I was with Lifestyle. As I mentioned on my very first deal, like I didn't have that person training me. I didn't even know what showing time was. I had to figure everything out on my own. So no,
Perfect.
I didn't have that type of mentoring.
So that's where I was going at. So then you didn't start a team, you grew your team. Therefore, you're the one that basically became the one that helped them create business, help them build your team up, and you grew your team. Okay, so the reason I mentioned that is because that's the important part. Because I own a school, right? I see a lot of new agents coming out of the school and they're like, hey, bud, you're in my school. Let's just create a team. Because we can go to a seller and say you get 2 for 1 instead of 1, and then now they're a team because now they have a logo and they have this. That's not a team because you did the job. You did the learning. You took your time to create that, and now people believe in it, and now therefore now you can guide them correctly. I just want to make sure that everybody understands the difference between just saying, hey, let's build a team together and call it whatever, have a brand, to hey, let's join this team that already can show me or can help me create those leads and that. So that's very important. That's why you guys are here as a panelist. Okay.
All right, so I'll go to Dennis. So when your production started taking off, there's levels and you went to a next level. What system, or was it a system or a habit that changed everything?
Back to the time blocking, staying organized, and having a CRM. I have to have that.
So what's your time block? Give me your time block from the moment you wake up, or what time do you wake up, and to the time you go to bed.
Now it's that's true for my kids. No,
Yeah, I know.
no, typically I try to I learned, waking up early from raising because I would wake up early, type my reports, send all my updates, do all that stuff early. So by 9 o'clock, I wasn't getting the calls. Where before I would get calls, no, it threw me off. So I wake up early, I have my alone time.
What's early?
5:36, 6:30,
I say that
now-
because my wife is probably watching. I have that conversation with her all the time. So yeah,
And
like,
once you get used to it, it becomes addictive. Like you get thrown off. If you start at 9, you're like, it's terrible. But I wake up early. I have some alone time. I always follow up with my clients in the morning, so that way before I don't, I avoid the calls. And I try to do any prospecting after that, and I do it before 1 or 2 or 3, depending. And then I try to do my showings and later on in the day. But before I do showings at any time, when are you available? When do you want to do a showing? I try to control my day and tell people, hey, we can see the property at this time after, and it's like 4 or 5, whatever. Where before I did it backwards. So
okay, let me tweak that a little bit. And the reason why is because you guys already have production, meaning you already have showings. Help me help them on what their time block should look like as when you began, because at 2 o'clock, they probably don't have anybody to show. So help me help them as to what to do to get to the point of having those showings. So can we start now?
Sure. So either keep prospecting throughout the whole day, or work on through social media again. Work on your social media stuff. Go to a property that's empty and record yourself walking through the property. This is what $700,000 gets you in Miami, whatever. Listen, I carry this everywhere. Where is it? Literally everywhere, my tripod.
Love it. There you go.
You know, because you never know when you're gonna shoot something. So I would say go to different properties.
So you're basically saying 9 to 5 time block prospect.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what it is for brand new agents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on them. I do want to be a little controversial because I'm not the biggest fan of time blocking. But some people need that extreme structure of, from 9 to 10, I'm gonna prospect, and from 10 to 11, I'm gonna check my email. For me, that doesn't work. That has never worked. I think as long as you are focusing solely on sales, and we talked about that earlier when you were discussing. You need to, we call it on my team IPAs, where not the beer, but income producing activities.
Right.
Your time should be focused on IPAs 100%. So I'm not a biggest fan of time blocking. I think you need to be focusing on sales your entire day. And that sometimes can include showings, because you have to sell a property. But as long as your time is focused on IPAs.
No, and time blocking, I mean, it's just a word.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what you're doing, because at the end of the day, you're doing stuff that builds income, right? So at that time, whatever time you do it. So yeah.
There's things that you could do. For example, like after I do my morning routine, I'm not at the office at 7 a.m. On the way to the office, I'll go by a coffee shop, and I've gotten deals there. I've met people, local things. There's so many ways to lead generate that people don't think of. Like I try to do neighborhood events. Like Home Depot here had a kids event the other day. So I'm like, hey, let's go. We're meeting more neighbors. We're meeting people in the neighborhood. We like drinking. Total Wine has events. It's in my neighborhood. I'm meeting locals, having a casual drink with them, So there's many things that you could do that you don't have to be on the phone. And in the beginning, I didn't know, like after I hit my circle of influence and I felt like, it was drying up. I went ahead and cold called, and I mixed it up to see what I liked. I called some expired, I called some for sale by owner, for rent by owners. I mixed it up. I saw what I liked, what I didn't like, what I was good at, what worked, what didn't work. So in the beginning, you can try different things.
But you try.
Yeah.
That's the main question.
So for me, it's a very, very different, right? Now I have a lot of things going on, so I really don't have time blocking, guys, but I do have goals. So every morning, straight up, I do have, like, for example, like this morning, right? I'm like, okay, my goal this morning is going to be this. Then after that is going to my other office in Tampa, meeting in Tampa. So I always, every morning throughout the week, and I meet with my wife on Sundays, I usually call it, hey, Monday to Friday, I have goals, because obviously I have kids. But for me, time blocking as well, like Beck, it doesn't work. I just tackle what is going to be for that day. And in that day, I need to maybe talk to 2 or 3 people. That I'm also very conscious too. I'm not calling everybody. I'm only calling, and I'm sorry if I sound a little arrogant in this. If you're not worth between 800 to $1 million, and you're my phone number, if you're my phone, I'm calling you. Hey, let's make a deal. Let's do a JV. Let's do the development, because I'm trying to create some commission, good commission for me. So since I have that type of guys on my phone and those ex-NBA players or whatever, I try to tackle. That's the way that I do it. But I try to tackle with that goal and me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not as structured as them, but that's just me. That's my way of doing it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that, like, it doesn't matter that you call an NBA player, because you can say, oh, this guy makes $5 million a year, but he's also spending $4 million a year. So it's the same thing as somebody making $300,000. That's the way I see it. I never see them as any different than what it shows is that all of you consistently continue to work throughout the day. That's the big difference. And I think it leads back to what mistakes new agents make, is that they find excuses or reasons as to, oh no, but I have to do this right now. Oh, but I have to do this right now. And they don't separate the time to, I need to do that, right? So yeah, I think that
And I want to mention something that just happened. I went to a showing for $4.5 million. The buyer came in on representative. I called Frank that 2 days ago. He was like, hey, what can we do, right? On the this. And then Then right now he just sent me a pre-approval from Bank of America. And I'm like, I told you to go with the lender that I think, and sometimes people are not gonna do what you ask or you tell them to do. So don't worry about it. Try to work the deal and just try to get it done. That's the goal.
Before we continue, any questions, guys, so we can give you guys an opening? Come on. No questions.
All right, so I'll give another one, right? Everyone talking about hustling, staying consistent, how to be productive. Obviously, everyone here is productive. How do you guys work out? And you guys talk about family, right? So how do you work your life work blend? That's what I like to call it, right? And what are your non-negotiables? I have my own kids, so I have certain times, certain things that are my non-negotiables, but how do you guys work that out?
You want to start with Natalie? Natalie, go ahead.
So
Okay.
I have a 5-year-old boy. I'm a single mom. We 50-50 co-parent. And thankfully we have it's a village, like my parents, his parents, he's also in the industry. So we are very, very, I guess we're caring for each other in the sense that we understand the business and we understand what it takes. I also have the mindset of I want to be a present mom. That's why I'm on the listing side predominantly. So in this season of my life, I sat down and I said, I'm okay with this amount of money a year, right? Because I want to, give my son a certain lifestyle, whatever, but I also want to be present. So as long as I'm making whatever that number is, I'm okay. Because once he's older, I'm not going to get this time back. So the weekends I have him, I do not work. There is no work. The weekends I have him. During the week, yeah, because whatever, I have him more at night. But I set the expectation with my clients that I'm not going to answer you after 8 o'clock, after 7:30 maybe. Text me. You could text me at whatever time, it doesn't matter. But I'm not going to respond till the next day. Because that's family time. That's the time that I sit down and have dinner with my son. That's the time I put him to bed. So as long as you set the proper expectations and your clients know you're running a business, that's really what
I think that's huge. A lot of people say like I'm present, but when their phone rings or they get a text, they might be at my daughter does dance, and then when she looks at you, she actually sees you on your phone.
Mhm.
So
And my son has told me, Mama,
yeah.
no phone.
Yeah, it's the truth. So
Good, right?
you have non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. So I'm still fairly young, not as young as I would like to be. But I don't have kids. I have a girlfriend of 4 years and 2 dogs. So that's pretty much it as far as personal life. So right now I'm grinding nonstop every single day, all day, every day. I'm so sorry. I need to take this phone call. It is what it is. I'm trying to build a monster of a business. So I'm giving it my all and I will continue to do so. My non-negotiable is though, that since I am working literally every single day, I will be traveling. When I travel, that is my disconnect. But even on my disconnect, I am still working and available.
And just a quick follow-up, does that also mean Saturdays?
Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, perfect, just want you guys to hear.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
crazy how.
It depends on what type of business you're trying to create.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm trying to go for it all. So
Exactly.
I'm going to be working every single day. And when I'm going to take that break, about every 6 to 8 weeks, I go on a trip.
Exactly.
He works 10 days a week,
Yeah.
30 hours a day.
36-10.
Yes, you get the point.
Perfect.
Non-negotiables. I mean, look, I have 2 kids under 2, so they're very much routine. My daughter, especially, she's a little bit bigger, but my son is all over the place. So I had to adjust, like my schedule. And now instead of waking up early, a lot of times I'm with him in the morning helping out. So we have a nanny that gets there, and I'll work late. So it's time management is important and just making up for the time elsewhere. But yesterday, usually we put the baby to bed at 7 to 8. Yesterday, we had to go walk through at 8 o'clock. Client text me, hey, sorry, I know you have kids, this and that. I said, hey, no, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the work because I'm to feed my family. They're like, oh, great, thank you, this and that. And we're grateful. So you have to make adjustments. And yeah, there's things that are non-negotiable. My dad is 91. I'm going to spend time with him. There's days that I'm going to spend time with him. And he will tell me, like you said, he'll be like, suelta teléfono, he'll tell me to do those. So you have to be able to have some quality of life and an outlet and time, because sometimes if you work 7 days a week, I mean, I don't know how you do it. It's super hard. I do it too, but like sometimes I'll do that And I've tried to take like a day off during the week, but you'll get brain fog and you'll get,
He said it, he's young.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You do burn out and you
Yeah.
don't work as efficient, so,
Exactly.
so you do need an outlet, you do need some time for yourself, because if not, you won't work as efficiently and then
Exactly.
you're not gonna be able
And
to.
Guys, my life, it went like this, right? And then, I talk openly about this because I love my wife and I now, we're in the same page. Now we've been for 23 years.
Watching
No. What I'm saying is that it's go through crazy because when I was overseas, she was there just watching me. And then basketball, it just, you gotta put the time, guys, and the sacrifice that you know what I mean? The sacrifice that I passed through it, it would come into this business. It's not that much. It was just work at it. And I'm gonna tell you, four realtors here, top producer, I always think about, hey, we're in the same doing this, but nobody's gonna outwork me in the sense of what I want for me and my family. So now it's that I work really hard, but also on the summer, you're not gonna see me that much because every weekend is sport with my kids. That's not negotiable. When we're in the sport, we sport. Now, another thing that is to be on the same page with your partner is key now. I usually when I was all over the place, and I can tell you one thing is that get together on the same page, not on you a whole week, and be good.
I think that from all of them, you guys heard their whys, or most of their whys, right? And one thing I didn't hear, which we hear a lot from brand new agents, is money, right? The money will come when the consistency is there, when the knowledge is there, and then you have the freedom and the time to be able to now dedicate that for your why, which is your family, is your wife. I'm the same mentality. My wife is everything for me. So that's the same mentality that I see from you guys, top producers. So all the new agents that immediately like, well, I need the money. Those are the same agents that are like, well, I also want the leads. But then you don't want to put the work.
And I tell you one thing, right? I didn't know that Homestead has two different parts. Okay, there's good Homestead and then we're bad Homestead. Okay, so let me tell you.
It's rewarding, guys.
Let me tell you a story real quick. At the beginning of my career, right, I put a family from north, and the back part of Homestead, and they come to 3 times. Took me about 30 times, but three weeks after with the closing, Sammy, I hear a gunshot. Please. And again, I have to say this because you have to know the neighborhood that you, as a new agent, that you selling, right? And you getting. But at the same time, that first commission, that second commission, it was about $18,000. I was like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? I'm getting used to this. And I just put them there, not knowing about Homestead, how Homestead was.
And
So-
this one's not going on YouTube, guys. And make it, thank you. Sammy.
Thank you. So
Yes,
teaching how-
100%, no steering. There you go. You ever know? Okay, so, what would you, okay, no, so let's change the question quickly. How many of you right now, let's say, are probably at a 40 to 50% referral business? Perfect, more. Okay, so all of you say more?
Yeah.
Okay, now I am going to guess that comes because you have a great follow-up system to remind all your clients that you are their agent. How is it that you guys now build such a good referral business?
So at any major holiday, I think you should be reaching out to your close to contacts, everyone who has actually purchased transacted with you in the last 3 years, plus others that have not, all those leads. And it's literally just a web. You close one, and then those people will refer you people, and those people will refer you people, and just like that. So it just continues to grow a web. It does take time to build a full referral-based business. You have to put in the effort and the work now to get to that point. But once you're a little bit more seasoned and you're in the business for a little bit, it becomes almost a little bit easier. You don't have to work as hard, and the business will just come to you.
Perfect. One thing that I figured back on that, I knew right now on Christmas, And Boricua, I'm Boricua, so I'm like, I'm good with coquito and I know how to do it. Every Christmas, I swear to God, I make a lot and I spend about $400 on coquito things because I like to give a bottle of my coquito to my clients and they appreciate it. And then on the thing, I put a I sticker with my name and number. Just the top. They just say, hey, but
It's
I know how to make
personal.
coquito. Yeah.
Yeah. Then, Natalie?
So there's different types of referrals, right? You have the referrals from your circle, your people, your network, and then you have agent to agent referrals. I want to say like the last few years, I've built a very big referral network as far as like agent to agent, right? And now, by going to events, by going to different things and meeting different agents from across the nation, I have become some of their like go to South Florida agents. So they'll send me people when they know they're relocating. Done a lot of military families that relocate to South Florida to South, what is it, SOCOM, whatever they call it. Eso mismo. That has been what has helped me a lot. The other one has been investors, right? So I have an investor that I work with that refers me all his listings, novation deals. So that has helped a lot too.
I have luckily I have great friends, family. They all they refer me business, and I think it's it's people over profits type of thing. Your clients have to trust you, and you have to keep a communication, like you said. I think if you have both of those, I think that will build the referrals and stay in communication.
Perfect. Okay, one other thing that it seems simple, but I don't believe it's that simple to everyone, okay? Give me, like, for example, if you're stuck in an elevator, your 6-second pitch to somebody in an elevator. And Natalie especially said she goes to events that are not local, let's say, right? In other states and stuff like that. How do you go up to somebody? Because it seems so simple, but some of the agents are afraid to go up to somebody and just tell them, hey, I'm an agent as well. And the funny thing is that there are peers most of the times when we go, right? So give me your 6-second pitch. And also, what is a conversation that you have with just up here and to just start?
So I've purposely gone to events by myself, right? Because I feel like if you go with people, you're going to stay in your little group. You're not going to venture out. You're not going to talk to people. I've been to events in Vegas, stayed in Vegas by myself, didn't tell anybody I was going, so nobody would tag along. And those are the best relationships that I've made. And it's simple, like, hi, my name's Natalie, I'm from Miami. And everybody knows Miami, right? Everybody wants to come here. So it's the Miami girl automatically, right? And just talking about what they do. What do you guys do where you're from? This is what works for us in Miami. People just ask me about like, what is Miami stuff, Miami life, the culture, the party. Everybody talks about the party scene. Now I'm like, I'm 40, guys.
Okay, now what about your 6-second pitch in an elevator? Because those people are already in Miami. So what's your 6-second pitch in that one? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I don't know what my 6-second pitch in an elevator is. Oh, how's the weather? I don't know. Or it's really, actually, I'm always hot, so I'm like, oh, it's so hot, right? Is it hotter this summer?
Okay, perfect.
That's an interesting scenario, but I feel like being just a genuine, direct human connection, trying to resonate with that person in any type of way or form. I know 6 seconds is short, but I would never say, "Hey, I'm a realtor if you need somebody." I would never ever do that because that's not the proper way to approach somebody. So finding a way to like actually make a relationship or a genuine conversation with them. Perfect.
Yeah, it's definitely not being shy to speak to people. The top producers, you're at a restaurant, you're talking to anybody, Leslie's one of them. She'll take out her card. Hey, do you have a house? Do you know anybody? So she'll do that. But anywhere I go, if I go to a coffee shop, anything, I'll try to break the ice. I'll look at them. If I see them driving in a certain car that I like, I'll talk to them about their car, their watch, their shoes, whatever it is, anything going on at that moment. You can break the ice anywhere. Just be polite and say hello and break the ice.
Mm-hmm. I usually ask what I bring you to either the hotel or the play or the moment that we have, and they will tell you, "Hey, I'm here for a conference," things like that, and that's how I break the ice.
It's funny. I mentioned that question because I had a friend, right? He was an older gentleman, very older gentleman, and every time we would go eat for lunch or whatever, the waitress would come up and he'd be like, I thought you were my friend. You're just not my friend, to the waitress or the waiter, and be like, why? Because I've already told you I'm a real estate agent and you haven't sent me anybody. But he had it. You know what I mean? He's like, you never told me that. Oh, well, here you go. Now you have. So that was his 6 second spit,
Yeah,
his
yeah.
6 second pitch, and it worked. Now you can say, oh, because he's older and they want to be nice with him or whatever, but no, it works, whatever works, right? So
I have a question. Will you say that the facility that you have to approach people comes naturally to you because you've been always like that, or is something that you have to overcome?
No, I don't think it naturally came to me. I think that this is a relationship business. And to me, the mindset was, and I guess I'm gonna talk about money, was like if somebody else is doing it and making money, why not me? Right? And so as a matter of fact, I'm leaving on a cruise next week. My shirt, we're wearing shirts. My shirt says most likely to befriend everyone. And that's only because my sister says that I talk to everybody and it's the same conversation over and over and over. And everybody always finds out that I'm a realtor. But it's because this is a relationship business.
I have a quick
Sorry. So it's Fourth of July weekend. I wanna get out there. What's the suggestion? Is it gonna be parties, invited to a pool party, a big, huge community? What do you suggest we do?
Definitely just talk to them. Try to network and mingle with everybody that you can. Exchange social media. I wouldn't, my personal view on it is to not go directly saying I'm a realtor. You want to buy a house, like that, nothing like that at all. But talk to everybody as much as you can. Exchange contact. Keep in touch on social media. Approach everybody and
Do I
everybody.
bring my cards with me for sure, right?
I would, yeah. But and only bring it out in appropriate moments.
and the only thing I would add to that is always grab their information. Like you always want to find out because if they have a card, you always want to get that because you want to put them in the
I
CRM.
will tell you another story a few months ago, which is crazy. Okay. I was in a golf course. If anybody knows, I like to play golf. And I was playing 18 holes. I was playing golf where one of the CEO of the Class Azul company, and I did not know that for 4 hours, 4.5 hours. You know how I find out? We went to lunch, all right, in the club. We went to lunch. The guy put a Class Azul bottle, and the waiter said, "Hey, I only have 3 barrels on the night that you give me." And I'm like, "Barrels?" Look at him, look at the Class Azul, and I'm like, "Wait a minute. Who is this guy that is nice to me?" And he's the owner, the Mexican. He's the owner of Class Azul, the tequila company. I was really not a millionaire. I was really a billionaire. Playing golf, and I didn't know, but it was not like, oh, what do you do? You know what I'm saying? Playing. It was just like, hey, we talk about cars, and it was just, casually, obviously, where I'm at. Yeah, it's a very expensive country club, but just to the fact that, that story is crazy because you say, hey, what do I do? Just be yourself. Yeah. And those people, or not only those people will attract to you genuine who you are. And then later on, you add value of what you do.
Like in their social media and, cause
Just be yourself, and then just relate.
I
Not
usually-
relate.
Cause I paint and I do art events and stuff like that, so I'm like, look at I start with that and, something soft, not like, hey, do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell?
Yeah.
Nothing
That's
like,
come later. You have to,
okay,
you can't
That's
tackle it
what
like that. You have to be yourself, relatable, and then you can, add value to
and then
it.
they'll see my social media that I also have content to put up.
Correct.
Any other questions, guys? No, you're gonna.
Well, give everyone some words of encouragement. Everyone wants to be a top producer. Everyone's in this game to be in that same seat. So what would you tell them, on
Last
Zoom
question.
here,
Yep.
Consistency, discipline, nonstop prospecting, and IPAs. You can have IPA beer out.
I would say the same consistency, making sure you're doing the IPA. There's a lot of fluff in real estate. Don't get distracted by the fluff. Do the things that, are income producing.
Conversations. One person can change your whole life. So, talk to everyone that you can in a genuine way. Try to really help people, and I think it'll come back.
Picking back on that, don't try to get in short corners, guys. stop, like, trying to like pay for lead, no, just do the work. And obviously, you're gonna get rewarded, right? By anything that you guys do, you want to sell, focus on sale, focus on that, focus on something that you like to do within sales. All right, but just stop the whole nonsense of what I wanna do, no. If you wanna be in sales, your life is sales, so just go ahead and do that. That's just me.
Well, guys, we want to thank you from Mikey and I. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody on Zoom. Have a good one. There's pizza there.